Welcome to this module with Chris Newton, founder of Marketing Help Online. Here's Chris.
I have the pleasure of talking to clients of ours who over the years have done great things with the ideas that we've shared with them at Results Corporation, and it's always a delight when I get a phone call out of the blue from somebody who tells me what they've been doing and have got a success story for us. And exactly that happened when I got a call from Paul Moxham of Moxham Motors. Paul, welcome. It's a delight to have you on the program with us.
Thank you, Chris. It's wonderful to share our experiences with you.
Terrific. Now, Paul, Moxham Motors is not exactly in thriving metropolis. You have two dealerships, and one's in Karratha and the other's in Port Hedland. Now, Karratha is some 1,500 kilometres north of Perth.
That's correct, Chris. It's very isolated, and the second dealership, which we opened about 18 months ago, is in Port Hedland, and that's another 250 kilometres along the coastline there. They're mining towns. Port Hedland's got a population at the moment of about 16,000, and Karratha is about 9.
One would expect that you would be content with a sleepy little business, and it doesn't seem to be that way.
That's very true, is that our nearest McDonald's is in Indonesia.
That's wonderful. Paul, we got to know each other years ago when I was contracted by Mitsubishi to do a workshop at the Gold Coast, and there were probably 70 or 80 fairly heavy dealerships there, and you were amongst those, and you went away and you did some really extraordinary things. And what really excites me is that, unlike most business people who say, yeah, I must do that someday, you just went back and did it. I'd love you to tell our listener about the things you've done, and well, I'll let you just roll with it. What did you do when you got back?
I left with a head full of ideas, Chris, and I think that like a lot of other car dealer principals, we'd been in the business for many, many years and considered ourselves to be decent business people, trying to do the right thing with our customers and going okay, but really not making any great waves in the industry one way or the other. And I came back from the Results 2-day seminar, and it just was a really good experience because you put it over so well. And I think the parting words were, I'll make you two promises. One will be that if you don't do anything, nothing will change. I really wanted something to change, so we came back with the compendium of letters that I recall you'd written,
yes,
which went through a initial greeting to a client, to all the stages that you perceive would be there in the experience of buying and owning and servicing a motor car, including example letters of when things went wrong, how to apologise and say we were sorry, and anniversary letters of events through there. We worked with those. We looked around for somebody that would have the people skills and the personality to do this as then undefined job, and we found the right person, very much so. We doctored the letters slightly over the period of time to suit the situation, and it was interesting, Chris, if the people in the yard had been somewhere else, you'd see the opposition dealership's brochures on the back seat, and you'd see in biro scribbled in the price of a car. So we thought, well, we've got to do it much better than that. So we had this basic letter which introduced ourselves, and as time went on, the awards and the accolades that we'd won, the benefits of our VIP card, and we've done some sort of cross-marketing with other businesses with the VIP card, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee. In those days, we thought that was rather brave, that he said that if you're not happy with the vehicle you've purchased, then you can bring it back for a full credit. Now, we've been doing that, Chris, for about 5 or 6 years, and we've very recently, we thought we'll go the whole way. We've said now, 7 days, if you're not delighted with the vehicle, then bring it back and we will give you a 101%, not a credit, but a cash refund. And you can imagine where they come first. But getting back to the letter, that letter goes into a nice folder.
So before you go on, let's just analyse the process here. Firstly, you had to find yourself this person who was going to systemise what was probably an ad hoc customer care program in the past.
Yes.
Did you found that person?
Oh, very much
What
so.
sort of person did you look for?
Sue was somebody that had some experience in the television industry, in selling, and had lots of people skills generally. I guess it was the extra expense of putting on and creating a position that we'd never thought of before was a little bit scary. And in terms of bearing your soul and offering all of these risk reversal guarantees was also scary.
Let me, if I may, analyse your selling process, because you started to mention the letters that you send out. So clearly somebody comes onto your lot and you see the brochures of the opposition on the back seat. What's your selling process? I mean, what do you take them through and where do the letters fit in?
Okay. Well, from there, if a car isn't going to be sold there and then, it's usually a process of 3 or 4 follow-ups from us and tends to go over about 10 days, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we write this letter which spells out all the reasons why they should buy from us, all of the unique guarantees and the benefits of buying from us, and then there's the guts of the deal, if you like, the car and the bottom line. That goes in a nice folder with a nice seal which closes it, and I guess this is one of the benefits of being in an isolated rural community. That's always delivered personally the same day.
So they get that the same day as they walked into your business?
That's part of the rules.
Wow.
If we can't do it during the day, it's got to be done going home. And with the 3 of us, if somebody lives near anybody else, when we're quite happy to do that on the way home. So it's never more than 12 hours before that's delivered.
So that looks like an under-promise and very much over-deliver and excite people and wow them already.
Oh, absolutely.
The letter and the information pack goes out to them, and it's a nice little seal on it. What happens next if they don't do anything? Do you take the initiative?
We didn't. We never used to. We used to say in the letter, because we were trying to overcome the image that unfortunately was in our industry, and in some cases still is, that the salespeople are very pushy.
Yes.
And it's very uncomfortable. And we probably went a little bit too far to overcome that, where we said at the end of the letter, thank you for coming in. This is us. We're wonderful. This is what we'll do for you. And this is the price. And by the way, we really want you to feel comfortable, so we won't be bothering you at all, but we'd love to hear from you. And we left it like that, and we've changed that now, and we follow it up in 3 days, and there's more things happen. There's more of those inquiries turn into...
What is that? The reason I'm dwelling on that, I guess, is because many businesses, for different reasons perhaps than the one that you mentioned, many businesses don't follow up. In most cases, it's through lethargy or just not thinking that they should take the initiative. But when they do follow up, it has a profound difference on their sales figures.
Most people say no 5 times before they say yes. Most salespeople only ask once, and therefore a certain percentage of the people get the lion's share of the volume.
8% of the salespeople are getting 60% of the sales.
I'm aware of that, Chris, and I wouldn't stand up and say that we're particularly good at that. It's something that we've become aware of and we're getting better. I think our strength mainly has been the continuing relationship of delighting and surprising the clients. We try and go and have a sequence about every 90 days before there's some sort of contact from either myself, the salesperson, or the service manager. And
what sort of contacts are they? Are they written or are they telephone? Or?
Mainly written. We have a contact after the order's signed, Chris, which is a congratulations letter from me, and it says there that we haven't lost the thrill of the experience of driving that brand new car for the first time. It's still important to us. We're really grateful that you've chosen us, and we're going to be with you all the way and try and make it the most delightful experience that you've ever had. And then we go through the car delivery. We fill up the tank with fuel, which is a gift.
And many people would say, oh, no, you can't do that. That's too expensive.
Well, what we used to do is, and I think like other car dealers, we'd give some clients a bunch of flowers, Chris, when we felt like it, if we remembered and if they were particularly nice people.
Which is exactly what 99% of businesses do, don't they? When they have time or when they think of it, they do these things, but 99% of businesses don't have it systemised. But I trust what you're going to tell us is that you now do that without fail every time to assist them.
Absolutely. It's part of the culture. When a client comes to pick up the vehicle, we give them a nicely worded letter, and we've got a relationship with a local restaurant where we've said to these people in the restaurant, well, how much would it cost you to get 50 new customers a month in terms of advertising? And sold them the idea that we could give them 50 new clients a month for nothing. We'd just like, a discount on what the meal for two to celebrate would be, which we've done. So we give that to the client. They're absolutely delighted. And
what's the face value of that offer?
$80.
Okay, and what does it cost you?
$15.
Wow.
So it really does cost very little.
It's the classic host-beneficiary relationship strategy, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've got another one, Chris. After the vehicle's a year old, we send a congratulations, your vehicle's a year old letter from me, and we invite the female of the couple to go and have, as like a special present, a birthday present for the car, if you like, which we detail as well. And we say, well, because we're spoiling the car, we think it's probably only fair that we spoil you. So the wife or the female of the relationship or the single female goes to the local beauty salon and has either a facial or a back massage, which I think is retail value at $60, which costs us $12. And if there's a partner, a male involved, they tend to be a bit embarrassed about massages and beauty parlours, so we give them a voucher for a foot reflexology massage. And the girls at the salon, they give us those vouchers, which I think are valued at $30. They give us those for nothing.
Because again, you're delivering them prospective new customers or clients that could be a lifetime value of many hundreds of dollars.
They understand and appreciate that, and their business has grown very much to their pleasure with clients that we've been sending along. And something which has really been good fun for us and we've really enjoyed doing, that we started, I think, about 4 or 5 months ago with the local florist we have, who's like-minded, if you like. We had a bit of a gap in the process after about, I think it's 6 weeks after delivery of the vehicle. We send the clients a bunch of fresh flowers. I think it's got a face value of around $35. And the card, which is handwritten by the particular salesperson who was involved in the transaction, and the card says this. It says, "Dear Mrs. Jones, there's no particular reason for the flowers. I just wanted to say it was a pleasure doing business with lovely people like you."
That's
and
sensational.
Out they go. They cost us $15, and we've had tears on the phone when they've been delivered. We've had people say they've never had flowers in their life before, and we've had irate husbands on the phone saying, "Who the hell are you?"
You've been upstaging me.
Now, what the florist does is she very cleverly, in with the flowers, obviously says these have been supplied by Karratha Florist, and she puts in her frequent flower points voucher, and people are coming back with their flower points and buying more flowers.
Oh, that is just magic. Tell me, Paul, how long do you have a relationship with a client?
We go for 3 years, Chris. And then after the end of that 3 years, we haven't sort of really looked beyond there, and I guess that's something we should do. But going on last year's statistics, 62% of those people would have repurchased by then anyway.
That has to be at the very upper end of the national statistics on repeat purchase. The industry average is around 20 to 25%.
I must actually qualify that, Chris. That's repeat and referral business.
Yes, well, they normally lump together, but you are 3 times the average performance there, so that's an extraordinary achievement. And it really comes down to the fact that you put this customer care person in place and you took, I guess, the compendium of letters that I helped you create at that workshop. What's that been worth to you? What's that program been worth to your business over the years?
Chris, it's staggering. Going back when we started, we would be selling between 6 and 8 new cars every month. And if we did 9 or 10, we'd probably want to go out and have a party and celebrate. Now we've built a brand new dealership in the middle of town. It's a fairly major investment, but it's a very attractive building and a nice place to be. We've opened the other dealership in Port Hedland because people were just demanding that we be there. And now we've gone from those days when we started the customer care to turning over $1 million every single month.
Oh.
It's just become so huge. We do between 50 and 60 cars a month now. and we have every car franchise you can imagine knocking on the door saying, please, can we come in, can we come in? And it's just been staggering, the growth. And probably to the point, Chris, we've almost become now in the people business rather than the car business. It seems to have become a means to an end to just delight them and have this wonderful ongoing relationship.
And the sales come.
That's automatic. That's automatic. You just don't have to chase it. They just come.
So the fact that you walked away from that workshop we did and simply just did these things, it's got to have been worth millions of dollars, hasn't it?
Literally. Absolutely literally, Chris. As you can imagine, with $1 million turnover a month, well, some of it sticks to your fingers.
Oh, that's sensational.
All I'm going to say.
Yes. Paul, just a couple of other things. You mentioned earlier about your guarantee. Again, you stepped right outside the ordinary, and I'm sure a lot of people thought you were crazy and it'd go broke. Can you word your guarantee for us and then just let me know, what that has actually meant to your business?
Sure. It's about an A4 size certificate, which is quite pleasantly presented in gold, and it's 101% cash refund satisfaction guarantee. And it says to the client that 7 days after they take delivery of the vehicle, if they're not absolutely delighted or they don't think that they have value for money, any time within the first 7 days they can refund the vehicle and we will give them 101% of what they paid for the purchase price of the vehicle. There's no catch to it. There's only two conditions. One is that the vehicle's not to have travelled 350 kilometres or more in that first week, and that's really to stop if there's somebody that thinks, well, hey, I can do this and get a car and drive around from Karratha to Port Hedland for nothing and take it back, or if the vehicle's damaged. But apart from that, that's the only exclusions. And of course, guess what? It's never happened.
You've never had one redeemed?
No.
Fantastic.
The message that we hear loud and clear from the people that come into the dealership is that they don't go anywhere else. Or if they do, they certainly come to us first.
That's sensational.
Yeah, and it's really not, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work it out. It's taking the fear, I guess, and the uncertainty away that's always surrounded buying a used vehicle. Am I being sold a lemon? Is it going to break down? Am I paying too much? Well, hey, you haven't got to worry about any of those things.
Paul, as always, when I talk to people like you, you make it sound so simple. You all have this same approach to business. You just go out and do it, and you make it sound so simple, and yet obviously there's a lot more to it than that. What advice do you have for our listeners to how do they switch on and get this happening in their business?
You've really just got to do it.
Yeah.
It's like jumping off a cliff without a parachute and hoping that customer service is going to save you. And I must admit, in that first year, there were difficult times. It took about 18 months before we could really start, reaping the benefits. You've got to have the faith. And if you have the faith and you get out there and you do it, you delight people, you do it honestly and give them value for money. And sure, sometimes people are going to come and you know that they're not telling the truth now and again and you're being taken for a ride. Just let them take you for a ride because, that really isn't a minority, and the volume of the business, our profitability has doubled.
Well, that's sensational to hear.
And still growing.
And still growing.
Yeah. This has just come to light. It's quite interesting with one of our products where the manufacturer sends out a survey form to the client and asks them about the whole experience of buying a vehicle and the dealership and the salesperson and the delivery. And they're scored and sent back to the manufacturer. And our score at Moxham Motors is 92.8%, which means that is the highest CSI score in Australia. So I thought about that, and then I wrote a letter, and I just wrote it the other day, Chris, and I said there were, I think, about 500 people I wrote to, and I thanked them for what had happened, and thanked them for being clients, and said that we were still far from perfect, and we've got a whole team of people dedicated to making it better and good experiences for them, thanking them again for being a customer and indeed making our business so successful. And then if there was anybody that they really cared about if they wanted them to share the same delightful experience which we hoped that they'd enjoyed, then we'd be more than happy to do the same just for them. So we're doing that as a mail-out. And the other one, Chris, it's what the industry calls PMA, Prime Market Area, and ours is the Pilbara region. If you like, it's our slice of the cake of our market share. And our market share with Hyundai in the Pilbara is a little short of 40%. And nationally, the market share is around 16. So here we are at 40. So it's not only the highest PMA market share in Australia, we haven't actually had it confirmed in writing, but we've had it verbally that's the highest PMA market share on the planet. We just can't believe that we've done that in Karratha and Port Hedland. It's just amazing.
Paul, what a sensational story. Look, I have to congratulate you. As I say, you make it sound so simple, but you've obviously, as I think we mused before, an overnight success that's taken 20 years.
25 years.
25 years. But honestly, you have given so much. I want to thank you for giving us some attribution for the fact that we've had a little bit to do with that. And I think you'll be a massive inspiration for a lot more people yet.
Thank you, Chris. It's been absolutely delightful to share the experience, and if it helps some people out there, well, that's wonderful.
Thanks, Paul.
Pleasure, Chris.